everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a get ready with me tutorial for this look here, and I'm going to be using a ton of new to me products. They may not be brand new releases from the company, but they are new to me and I'm excited to try them out. So if you're looking forward to spending some time with me while I create this look, then just keep watching. So good morning guys. It's been a long week. It's been a long time since I've done any kind of video. I have moved. That's why the background looks completely different. I'm underneath my bed right now, so I have a lofted bed and it's a much smaller room than I had before, so I had to make do, but I love it anyway. I have my roommate's Papa Rhoda here with me. You want to say hi? She's probably going to be in my lap for the rest of this tutorial, so here we go. You may be wondering why it's the middle of summer and I'm wearing a hat. I've slept in this hair for 3 days and the top is not looking that great. Here, I'll give you a sneak peek. It's pretty gross. I'm sure in the intro my hair looks a lot better than it does now. Who do you think I'm talking to?
Is Auntie crazy? Is she talking to herself?
Sweet girl. So I've already washed and moisturized my face. I use this new lotion from Pacifica. My skin recently has been super duper irritable and kind of dry in patches and red. So I'm trying to find a lot of calming lotions. I previously used the Yes To Cotton one, which was amazing, but I'm just down to try something new. Now I'm going to be using the Cover FX Mattifying Anti-Acne Primer. It wasn't my favorite in the past, but I think that was because I was applying it wrong. I was kind of just rubbing it in and then it would pill up and didn't really sink into my pores the way I wanted it to. So now I've kind of realized that I need to just apply it on, barely rub it in, and then just press it into my pores and T-zone. And press it into my nose, this part of my cheeks, my chin. This is a trouble area for me for like acne and texture. I also picked up a new toner from Mario Badescu. It's the cucumber cleansing lotion, but I don't know how it's a lotion because the second ingredient is alcohol, and as soon as I opened it up, it smelled exactly like cucumber vodka. So I've not had any issues so far, and my friend Kitty Snack swears by it. So I'm giving it a try to get rid of this texture I have around my chin and my nose and right here. So that's gonna sink in. It may take a little bit because it's a little humid here, but you know. This is not a new foundation, but it's pretty new to me. It is the No. 7 Beautifully Matte Foundation in the color Cool Ivory. Now I've worn this a couple times and it didn't really keep me matte, but I think that was because I was using an oil-based moisturizer. And this is a little too cool for my skin tone. So I've actually come up with a method that I think works for me. Once I have the foundation applied to my face, I will apply the NYX blotting powder in light. I have heard no one talk about this. I've used the Set It and Don't Fret It matte setting powder and I love that. But this, okay, so it says it's translucent, which isn't true. It does make me look really light and ghostly until I contour my face. But these two paired together, beautiful color combination, and I don't get oily whatsoever. Like, you know, 8, 9, 10 hours into the day, yeah, I get a little bit greasy in my T-zone, but I mean, it's not as greasy as I used to get, which is awesome. I'm gonna go ahead and apply this foundation with a Real Techniques foundation brush. This stuff does smell like paint, but not as bad as the Wet n Wild Photo Focus foundation, which I love too. I just try not to wear it as much because my skin has been so temperamental. It does say it's a medium to full coverage, but I find that it's much more on the light side until I apply a second layer in the areas that I need it, which would be my cheeks and maybe some of my forehead. Immediately I am kind of dewy with this, but again, that may be because of the humidity in my room. It will settle down as soon as I set my face. Moving on to under eye concealer, I'm going to be using the IT Bye Bye Under Eye Illumination Full Coverage Anti-Aging Waterproof Concealer in the shade Light. This isn't as thick as their original Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer, and it's definitely more dewy, which it, you know, is attributed to in the name when it says illumination. I like it still. It's not my favorite. I think I would prefer the Bye Bye Under Eye, but this is a good color for me to illuminate underneath my eye, because usually a lot of the concealers I use are about the same shade as my my skin tone or even a little too dark for under eye. And I have not really been a fan of putting super light concealer underneath my eye because I think unless you do color correcting, it can make you look super ghastly. Like gives you a gross shadow underneath your eye. So I'm just gonna tap that in, and then I will take this IT Cosmetics Airbrush Blurring Foundation brush that I got in a free sample from Ulta a few months ago. It's really nice. I use this mostly for concealer rather than all over foundation just because it's so small. Now to set that, I'm going to take the Prime and Stay finishing powder in Translucent, Fair Light, and Ivory from e.l.f. I'm going to mix these a little bit on my eye. This is just an e.l.f. blush brush. Immediately that has already taken away some of the greasy-like illumination dewiness from that concealer. For concealer on the rest of my face that I need extra coverage, I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Concealer. This is in the shade Light Ivory. This stuff I've used before and I really like it. I've also used it on like my no makeup days where I just put on some concealer and powder. And this works just as well underneath the eye as a lot of other concealers that I've used underneath my eyes. I mostly picked this up because I heard Jay Kissa raving about it. I've not tried either the NARS Radiant Creamy nor the Tarte Shape Tape, though I've wanted to try the Tarte Shape Tape. Now that NARS is no longer cruelty free. NARS, what you doing? But she said that this was a mixture as if those two had had a baby. So I'm going to take her word for it. Going back in with that IT Cosmetics Blurring Foundation Brush. Now that all of the cream products have been applied to my face, I'm going to go in with the NYX blotting powder. I'm just going to use that with the puff that it comes with. I think maybe if I try applying more of my finishing powders with a puff where I press it into my skin, especially around the areas that I get oily, I think I'd have a better outcome instead of just like swishing it around. So I'm just going to load up the powder puff that it came with and then start pressing it. I always start with the creases by my nostrils just because that can get a little, I think that's a lot of people's trouble areas. And then I'm just going to press that basically all over my face. I'm sure at different beauty stores like Ulta or Sephora you can buy just a set of excess powder puffs. So if you find that this isn't hygienic enough for you, or if you get a powder that doesn't have a powder puff, you can just buy one and use it like that instead. So as you can see, like I said, this makes me look kind of ghostly, and don't worry, I'm going to blend it out on my face. On the box it advertised that it would be a translucent powder setting powder, and I think maybe if you just dust it around it would, but the fact that I'm using so much of it I think makes it look cakey, like I'm baking my entire face. So I'm just gonna take an e.l.f. complexion brush and just swash that around so I can get most of the excess product both blended into my skin and distributed so I don't look as patchy as I did. Much better. So I'm going to bronze up my face a little bit with an oldie but a goodie, the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Contouring Palette. I don't want to contour too much with this, but I do want to warm up the perimeter of my face because I have a new product to me that I really want to test out for contouring. So I'm just going to take that on my cheekbones with a large diffused Wet n Wild brush and on my temples. I've found that this powder applies best when you use a large, kind of more firm brush, because otherwise it can look patchy. I've never really understood why people contour or shade underneath their face, because I feel like that can make it look like you're wearing the wrong color foundation. But I'm just going to do it a little bit anyway, because all the beauty gurus do it. Why not me? So this product I'm super excited to test out because once again it was a recommendation from my good friend Katie over on Kitty Snack Does Makeup. I'll put her in her card right here. But this is the Tartist Pro Glow To Go Contouring Palette. Whenever I read this, I always think it says Tartiest because it's E-I-S-T instead of T-A-R-T-I-S-T. Little things. I'm gonna go in with Chisel, which is that bottom contour shade, which online it looked a little orange, but I've swatched this and it looks pretty nice. So I'm gonna take a Luxie Precise Foundation brush, which I think honestly this is terrible for foundation. It's too flimsy and it has a weird kind of arrow-shaped top that I don't like, but it's perfect for getting into the parts of the cheekbones like right here that you want to contour. So I'm gonna go in with Chisel here. Oh dang, that's much more pigmented than I thought it was going to be. Oopsie. So I think that looks really good. Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, I'm gonna have to undercut my cheekbones a little bit right here, but that's fine, I do that anyway. Now, unfortunately, there are 2 shades in here. I thought one of them was going to be another matte lighter shade that you could use to highlight, as in like the opposite of contour your face, and then there's an actual highlight shade. But instead, there's 2 highlight shades, and there's a highlight palette that I really want to try out separate from this. So I will have to try those out on a later date. But I've swatched them, and they're beautiful. Now moving on to contouring my nose, I'm going to use the same chisel shade with the Royal Inlaying Nickel Precision Angled Brush. And I usually start right underneath my eyebrows. Oh, damn, this is some buttery shit, though. And then just go down the sides of my nose, around the tip, wrap the tip. Y'all always should wrap the tip. Be safe, don't be sorry. I love this. I think this was mostly supposed to be an eyeshadow brush, but I find this to be much too large, so it's perfect for contouring my nose. Next step is I like to just go over the bridge of my nose, kind of near the bottom, to give me more of a button-esque kind of shape. I'd say it looks pretty good. So now I am going to go in with the lighter color in the Make a Glow contouring palette, and then undercut my cheeks with just an e.l.f., I think just mineral powder brush is what it is. I'm gonna apply this right underneath where I had contoured. I never really go in for a heavy contour. I mean, this is my like everyday makeup. On the bottom of the center of my chin, and then also my in-between. Is there a name for the in-between the eyebrow area going onto my forehead? So I like this a lot so far. I think if I were able to use all 3 of the shades, it would be great. But let me swatch the shade Burst, which I thought would be the other matte lighter color, and then Gleam, which is the highlight. They're both very shimmery, where I thought Burst would be much more matte. Moving on to blush, I'm going to be using the Milani Baked Blush in Luminosa, which is a cult classic. I only just got my hands on this, so I'm really excited to give it another go. I'm just going to be using a BH Cosmetics brush that I got in a set. I have a couple of these blushes from Milani, and I've noticed that if you press too hard, they can get kind of powdery, and they're super pigmented. So just look at that. That's a beautiful, beautiful color though. Perfect for summer and for spring. I tend to be a little heavy-handed with this shit, but you can just see from this side to that side how much warmer this looks. Beautiful color. And then I'll also, of course, put a little bit on my nose. Of course, I'm going to be doing some faux freckles. And while doing faux freckles is not new to me, this product that I'm using for faux freckles is. I've used this many times on my eyebrows as a setting mascara, but I've only used this once as a freckle doer, and it worked really well. It's a pretty color. This is the NYX Tinted Brow Mascara in the color Brunette. And the brush that I'm using to apply this is new to me as well. This is a crown brush that I got in a set from Ipsy. To be honest, I'm not the most excited about this set. A lot of the brushes seem a little too flimsy for me. The fan brush though is my first ever fan brush, and I cannot complain. It looks pretty good. So this I think is just a pointed liner brush, so it seems pretty stiff, which is what I need because I've been using a silicone liner brush from Real Techniques, but it tends to bend and then I get kind of like streaks for freckles, which doesn't look natural at all. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be squishing the applicator onto my hand, especially the tip, so I can get some excess product. Then close that up and then just dip my brush into that. Yeah, I think it's important to tap these out almost right away though, because otherwise they dry down and then it's harder to get them to look more natural. I like to put my freckles on before I do highlighter just so it has an extra layer of makeup to make it look more like actual freckles. I get sloppy with freckles because I'm too impatient, and that's when I get streaks and smudges and just large brown spots that I don't want. I'd say that looks pretty good. I know it's hard to see on the camera, but I've got freckles basically where the sun would hit my face, so here, and then a little bit on my chin. Now onto the pièce de résistance, the thing that I'm the most excited for. This is the Colourpop Gimme More Pressed Powder Highlighter that they just released. It's really cute. It says I like your face on it. And then it has the shade names on the back there, which I think is a really nice touch because a lot of the time I feel like less expensive makeup companies tend to not do that with their palettes. They don't tend to give their eyeshadows names or their pressed powders names. So that's really cute. I think maybe it'll come out, if they're not already, with singles of these highlighters. So of course, when I get to the biggest part of the video, my camera decides to shit out on me. I don't think I've had one single video without a camera or a recording issue. The universe is stacked against me. but I will persevere. So basically all I did was applied a blush topper and a highlighter using the Colourpop I Like Your Face palette. And of course I did my eyebrows and threw my hair up so it doesn't look as gross. But just to go over, wow, these are super fragile. I've barely dipped into this first one here called Bottomless. That's what I have as my highlight. And I don't know if you can tell, but it's already got some ridges in there from my fan brush. And then I used this color right here, which is called Total Package, as a blush topper. Let me recreate the first time of me using this for you because it is spectacular. Total Package. Bottomless. Damn! Colourpop! You making that Colourpop, damn girl! Oh! If you can get your hands on this, I highly recommend it. It is a great product. Just be aware that the pressed powders are a little fragile, so make sure not to crush it with like your fingernail or anything if you're doing swatches or accidentally drop it. Just be careful, please. I also set my face with the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Setting Spray, which is my go-to, my usual. Brows are what I usually do. I just use the Inspire Duo Powder in dark brown and then use the NYX Control Freak Setting Gel. This one's looking a little fucked up and I don't know why. This has always been my bad brow. Maybe if I turn my head. Damn though, look at that glow! You know what I mean? It's so beautiful! Ow, I stared into the light too long. Okay, now I'm super nervous because I'm not 100% sure what eye look I'm going for. I think I want like a nice teal bluish on the center of my lid, and the reason I'm saying that is because I did get 2 new shades from Colourpop as well. This is Muscle Beach, the blue, and I'm really excited to try that one. And then this next one I think is called Let Me Explain, which I think was one of the first released. I just got my hands on it. So I am going to be testing out some new eyeshadows to me. So these 2 that I showed you from Colourpop, this is just their empty Colourpop Z palette. Down here is just a highlighter from Urban Decay in Sin. It's a really nice highlighter. And then I also got my hands on the Urban Decay Shadow Box. I do have the Nocturnal palette, but I'm not entirely impressed by it, and this unfortunately looks very similar to it. And then another thing that I'm excited for is I got the Kitty Snack and Styli-Stiles collaboration kit. Here's Katie's face. She looks so beautiful. I have her linked before in the video, and I think I'll try to remember to put her in the description box down below. But one of those products in that kit, it's a beautiful kit. You guys should go get your hands on it. It's only $25. Vegan products, cruelty-free, and free shipping. But one of the products in there, this is in the High Impact Eyeshadow series, and this one is called the Precious Metals. And these, I did not think I would need these colors in my life because I never usually wear green or blue, but these are phenomenal. Phenomenal! I swatched them and holy crap, super pigmented, super creamy, and oh, I am excited to try and use these as best I can in this look. So I'm gonna try to stick to just these little things here. I'm obviously gonna fill the sky with more Colourpop singles, but because this is a new to me products thing, I want to use as many new products to me as I can. So I'm kind of sticking with what I just recently obtained. And I'm out of water. My life is over. Although I'm probably gonna have to pull from other shadows just to be able to have a transition shade, because this is kind of ridiculous that I don't have one of those. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab my Modern Renaissance palette.
Auntie's doing makeup.
You wanna come sit in my lap? Come here. Come on up. I think I'm gonna want to do a contrasted makeup look, so I'm gonna try to maybe do like an orange or yellow underneath here, and then I'm gonna have my blue on the center of the shade over a white crayon so it shows up more, and then have it fade to like a brownish orange. I think that would be really pretty. To prime my eyes, I'm going to be using the e.l.f. Mineral Eyeshadow Primer, and then I'm going to set that with the NYX Single Shadow in the shade Vixen. I'm gonna settle. So now I'm gonna go in with a mixture of Raw Sienna and Burnt Orange from the Modern Renaissance palette, which is these 2 shades here, and just sweep those in my crease. Good girl, Rhoda. I think she thinks I have treats for her. Surprise, I don't. think I'm gonna go in with Lost from the Urban Decay shadow palette. I'm just gonna use a very rounded, fluffy eyeshadow brush. I'm gonna halo this around my eye. This isn't really building up the way that I wanted it to. I think that's a pretty good buildup of color from that. I think I'm also going to go in, I can't decide between Chocolate Diamond or Pure Copper from this palette. Here's Chocolate Diamond and this is Pure Copper. I think I may actually mix both of them and kind of deepen up the corners of this eye look. Maybe go in closer to pinching the inside of the eye. And I'm just gonna go in with a nice Colourpop shader brush. These are hella pigmented. I did not think they would be. I don't know why. Usually a lot of like shimmery shadows, especially in a palette, don't really come out as well as you think they would. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go mostly with the Chocolate Diamond. But look at that, you can just see how immediately that Pure Copper is just shining through. So beautiful. So I'm kind of going in for a dark halo eye. And then I will diffuse it up further and further on my brow bone as it gets more dark, as it gets darker and darker in the crease here. So I'm just gonna wipe that brush off, and I think I'm gonna go in with, this is where it gets messy. I think I'm gonna go in with a little bit of Aquamarine, this nice blue right there, and try, actually, I think I'm gonna go in with the white shadow first. So this is just the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk. Another like cult classic. I may have to just apply like a chunk because mine has been loved. It's super short. Now the reason I'm putting white as a base is because a colorful color will show up better on a whiter base than it will on a darker tanner base. This works with basically, I think, any skin tone. If you want a color to pop, it should be like a white or a light creamy shade that you put underneath it. So using that same Colourpop brush, I'm just going to go in with the Aquamarine shade and go around that on the very perimeter, because I really want the center of my lids to just be that nice Muscle Beach shade from Colourpop. I don't want too much of it to be shimmery, but this will help diffuse it. God, look at that shimmer. Killing it, Styli-Stiles. Before I go too much further, I think I am gonna put a little bit more Pure Copper around the eye, just because I think that nice orange shade will help balance out even more the nice blue and make it pop. And now I think I may end up going in with just my finger, but I'm gonna try to apply that nice Muscle Beach shade with this eyeshadow brush from Wet n Wild. And to remind you, Muscle Beach is this nice blue shade right here that I'm in love with. So I know these, oh my gosh, so creamy. Look at that. That was like 2 swipes on the brush. I'm just gonna, yas, batch. This is what I wanted. Look at that. Damn. Now I need to go on to the lower part of my eye. So I'm gonna go in with this. I think this is another BH Cosmetics just shadow brush that I got in the same group as I did with the blush brush. Going back in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. I think I'm gonna go in with Golden Ochre, right here, and put that underneath my eye. I may mix in some more of that Burnt Orange, which is the shade right underneath it, just to make it a little bit more impactful. Yes. Yes, this is what I'm living for. And then I think I'm also going to go in with a mixture of Red Ochre and Antique Bronze here, these 2 shades, just to add more red right by the lash line and then on the halo sections of the eye, so the outer and the inner corner, just to make that blue pop even more. And then just going back in with Burnt Orange and Raw Sienna, just going to continue to diffuse that darker color as it has reached up higher onto my lid. For brow bone highlight, and I think for the inner corner highlight as well, I'm going to go in with the Colourpop shade Let Me Explain, which is a beautiful shimmery champagne color. Colourpop has been killing it lately with their products. Damn. I think this is the one that Katie had said was close to Shimma Shimma from Makeup Geek, but I don't have Shimma Shimma to compare it to, so we're gonna go with what she says. And then for the inner corner of the eye, I'm just gonna be using this Wet n Wild concealer brush with that same color. So buttery. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. In love. As far as liner goes, I don't want to detract too much from the original look, so I'm just going to be using the Styli-Stiles The Stylus liquid liner, which was also in Katie's little collaboration kit. And I'm going to try to just stamp this across my lash line so there's not as much like awkward separation between my eyelashes and the shadow. Pray for me, because for some reason this is harder for me to do than winged liner. That wasn't too bad. This is an amazing liquid eyeliner. It is pigmented, the brush tip is firm but pointy, so it's great for those of you who are new to doing winged liner, or for veteran people to winged eyeliner like myself. This is a beautiful stylus for it. So I think for the inner waterline, I'm going to go in with this Colourpop liner. I'm not sure of the name. Ooh, my tip is broken. Oh no. I've had this for a little bit. I'm not quite sure what the name is. If I can find it online, I will list it here if it's still available, because this was in an Ipsy bag for me. There. Gives that nice rusty look to it. Though I didn't want to detract from the look with the black liner, I think it would be nice to add some accents with a white liquid liner. This is the NYX white liquid liner, and it's the only white liner that I've ever tried. It is a little patchy and it can flake when it dries. If you guys have more recommendations for a white liquid liner, please let me know. That is cruelty free, please. I think I'm gonna put one dot, I think, under the center of my eye. And then I think I want to put two little like lash swipes on the side of my eye instead of having winged liner. Of course, if you don't want to put this white liner on here and keep it more wearable for the day, please go ahead and do what you'd like to do. It's probably about as even as I'm gonna get, so I better stop while I'm ahead. For mascara, I'm going to be using the Grand Lash Boosting Formula Mascara. I got this in an Ipsy bag, and I actually reached out to the company wondering if they were cruelty-free, and they responded, which I did not expect them to because I'm just a normal consumer, and they told me indeed that they are. So that is very exciting for me. I love when companies respond to their customers and when they are cruelty-free. Whew. We all know how long putting on mascara takes for me. While my mascara dries, I am going to line my lips with the Styli-Stiles Line and Seal Lip Liner in the color Sand. This was another item in the Kitty Snack and Styli-Style collaboration. I have nothing on my lips. This is extremely buttery and so easy to use. It doesn't pull on the lips at all. It's obvious I like to overdraw my lips and they never match. Stuff is so smooth. While that kind of settles into my lips, I'm going to do the lower lash line now with the e.l.f. Lengthening and Volumizing Mascara. To finish off this look, I'm going to be putting on the Styli-Style Go-To Glass in the color Uncover. This is, once again, one of the items from the Kitty Snack and Styli-Style kit collaboration. This stuff smells so good. I don't know what it smells like. If you are sensitive to smells, or as in for me, if I were working with a deaf-blind or deaf individual, I would not wear this because it does maintain its smell for about an hour or so after you put it on. Stuff is so creamy and it's not sticky. Like, it's glossy, but it doesn't like keep my lips together. It's got a really interesting applicator too. So this is the finished look. I hope you guys had a good time, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Really? When did you stop? Just, of course, I can put... Oh no! Retro Vertigo? What? When did this come out? Cool. I'm gonna go in, I think, with the raw sienna and maybe a mix of the burnt orange here. Rhoda, it's not candy. You can't eat it. There you go. Good girl. Except you're laying on my headphones. It's fine. And going back in. We all know how long putting mascara puts... Why can't I talk? We all know how long putting mascara takes for me. Oh boy, where did the lid go? No. It's just me. It's just me. It's just me. Don't bark, please. Well, my mess... Well, I'll never go. Never gonna get it, no, we're never gonna get it now. Tell me what you need when you're 17. Just go. Oh, there it is, chorus, right? Hiding in the fucking back there. Everything's fucked up. Nice. Bring us tomorrow. Me and today. Excuse me.